Tell me about yourself. It is easily one of the trickiest questions that you'll ever be asked in the interview process. See, this is one of those questions that's like seemingly an easy question to answer, okay? But if you don't watch yourself, it's actually one of the most dangerous questions that you can answer, because if you don't get it right, okay, it can mess up everything. It can mess up the entire flow of your interview process. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how to answer this question and how to answer it like a pro every single time. Let's talk about it. Welcome to another episode of Career Strategies. My name is Rodney Hughes, Mr. 100%. And if this is your first time to my channel, the purpose of my channel is to teach you strategies that can help you advance your career. So if that's a topic you're interested in learning more about, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Oh yeah, and by the way, don't forget to hit that little bell so that you can be updated anytime I drop some of this kick-ass content. All right. So check this out. Again, we're talking about this question, tell me about yourself. Again, it's one of the trickiest questions that you'll ever be asked. But here's the thing. What I want you to do is I want you to avoid, okay, making the Sampson mistake. Do you know what the Sampson mistake is? Well, let me give you a little bit of the backstory before I get into the nuts and bolts of how to answer this question, because this is super important, okay? So I've been in the sales profession for well over a decade now, okay? And when I was just getting started in the sales profession, my dad, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest salespeople I've ever come across, he ended up pulling me to the side and he said, son, always remember this. No matter what you do in the sales profession, never make the Sampson mistake. And I said, okay, well, what's the Sampson mistake? And he said, son, Sampson from the Bible defeated thousands of Philistines with the jawbone of an ass. And he said, son, every day, thousands, maybe even millions of sales are lost because some ass keeps running his jawbone. Now, you might not know my dad 9 times out of 10. And just so you know, he's a little bit of a joke. He was a little bit of a jokester. Okay. But the wisdom in this idea that he gave me is absolutely sound. And later in my career, I realized how powerful it really was. Okay. Essentially what he was saying is that in the sales process, most sellers mess up a deal because they just keep talking. Okay. And see, the more you talk, the more opportunities you have to talk somebody out of buying something. Okay. And so what does this have to do with answering this question, tell me about yourself? Well, let me explain it. Okay. The biggest mistake that people make when they're asked this particular question, tell me about yourself, is that because they're not prepared to answer that question and they start trying to go off the top of their head, they just start a yipping and a yapping and a talking and a blah, 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 blah. Okay. It happens so often. Okay. And here's the thing. This should not happen, because the reality is most people understand that when you go into an interview process, most interviewers are going to start off with this question. So you need to be prepared to you need to be prepared to respond to this question as opposed to reacting to this question. See, you react when you're not prepared for it. You respond when you prepare for it. And so I'm going to show you some things that you could do so that you can respond effectively, so that you don't end up just talking and end up messing up your interview process. See, here's the thing. If you're not prepared to answer this question, you'll end up starting off the interview process all wrong. Okay. And if you're not careful, you'll end up losing a tremendous amount of momentum. See, here's the reality. Your goal should be to start off strong. You know this question is coming. Okay. You want to make sure that everything that comes out of your mouth is designed to help you. It's like it's hitting the bullseye. Okay. Everything that comes out of your mouth. Okay. And so in order to do that with this particular question, understanding that, man, this is like one of the vaguest questions that they can ask you in the interview process, the way you overcome it and the way that you end up responding in a favorable fashion is you have to seek clarification. Okay. Have you ever heard that expression? You should never answer a question with a question. I will say 99% of the time that is true. Unless, and that's the key word there, unless you are seeking clarification. See, that's in that situation when you're seeking for someone to clarify what they've asked you, it is perfectly normal. Okay? I would even consider it a best practice to seek clarification before attempting to answer the question. Because if you don't do that, you put yourself in a bad situation. Okay? So that's the core concept that I'm about to share with you here. Now, let me go ahead and show you exactly what I mean by that. So let's imagine that I'm going through the interview process. I'm interviewing with a hiring manager, and the interview manager starts off like most hiring managers do with this question. So he says, "So Rodney, tell me a little bit about yourself." Here's exactly how I would respond. I've done it several times. It's worked 100% of the time for me. I've also taught other people how to do this, and it's worked really well for them as well. Okay, here's how I would respond, and I want you to take real good notes. Okay, here it goes. "So Rodney, tell me a little bit about yourself." Absolutely. I'd be happy to tell you anything you'd like to know about my background. Is there something in particular you'd like to know? And now here's the big part. And then be quiet. Don't be like Sampson. Okay? You gotta be quiet. Okay? Let me say it again. "So Rodney, tell me a little bit about yourself." Absolutely. I'd be happy to tell you anything you'd like to know about my background. Is there something in particular you'd like to know? And then be quiet. Let me tell you why this is so powerful. There's 3 reasons, really. The first reason is because it reduces the odds of you having to guess. When somebody asks you a vague question, you never want to guess that you understand what it is they want to know. Okay? Don't ever do that. Okay? The second reason why this is such a powerful response is because by asking this, by seeking clarification, you don't end up positioning yourself as being evasive. See, what happens a lot of times is that people will attempt to answer a vague question, and because they're not really sure exactly what they want to know, sometimes their response can sound like they're trying to evade what that person is asking for. But the reality is that the question that interviewer has asked has set the candidate up for failure. Okay? But again, that still doesn't matter. Okay? You as the candidate have to be able to take control of this situation and seek clarification. Okay? And that's what this response does, so that you don't have to end up sounding like you're evading a question. And then the third reason why is because this is just simply what great communicators do. Okay? Great communicators always seek effectiveness. Okay? And you can't be truly effective if you're guessing. Okay? If you want to be effective, seek clarification. Okay? I hope you wrote this down. All right? Now, we're not done yet. Okay? Once you do this, the conversation is going to go one or two ways. One way or the other. Okay? Here it goes. The first way that it could go, which is what I would consider to be the best case scenario, is that they're going to tell you exactly what they want to know from you. Okay? Maybe they say, tell me about tell me about what you have been doing in your last job. Okay, boom. He or she has given you clarification. So all you got to do at this point is focus on telling them what you did in your last job. Okay? And then you just get to explaining it, but you do it in a clear, concise, and compelling way. That's what I call the 3 C's. Clear, concise, and compelling. Right? And you should be able to do that now, because now he or she has given you the clarification that you need, so that you don't have to guess about what it is they want to know. All right? But that's the best case scenario. See, the worst case scenario is you might be dealing with somebody who's a little bit more difficult. Okay? And so the person might just end up restating the exact same question to you. Okay? And if they restate the same question to you, Now you don't want to go back to them and ask for clarification again, because then you run the chance of them viewing you as trying to be difficult. Okay, and then that ends up working against you as a candidate. Okay, so now you just have to attempt to answer this question. And so if you get hit with this worst case scenario, what I'm about to share with you is a 3-step approach that can help you answer this like a pro. They can help you answer it in a clear, concise, and compelling way. And even though you don't know exactly what they're looking for, this answer should suffice. Okay, here it goes. Step number 1, tell them where you're from. Okay, you can either tell them about your hometown, you can tell them about your college, or you can tell them about both. Okay, step number 2, right? Tell them how long you've been doing what you're doing. Okay, whatever it is you're currently doing, tell them how long you've been doing it. You could tell them how long you've been in the industry you've been in, or you could tell them how long you've been doing whatever the profession is that you've been doing for however long you've been doing it. Okay, and then the third thing that you want to tell them, and this is the most important one. Okay, this is absolutely essential. Okay, tell them why you're interested in their opportunity. See, the key here is you want to make it all about them. Okay, right? Yeah, when they say tell me about yourself, one of the things that you're going to tell them is why you're interested in them. Okay, that will be like music to their ears. Okay, so let me give you an example. All right, so let's go back, let's rewind just a little bit. Okay, let's go back to the original question. So Rodney, tell me about yourself. Then I would respond, absolutely, I'll be happy to tell you anything you'd like to know about my background. Is there something in particular you'd like to know about my background? And then be quiet, right? If the worst case scenario happens, here's how they might respond. You know, just tell me a little bit about yourself, right? Here's how I would respond, okay? Using that 3-step approach. No problem. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been working in the sales profession for well over a decade now, and I'm interested in your opportunity because blah, 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 blah. Now, just to give you some more context so that you understand what blah, blah, blah means, okay? Let's imagine that I've been in the sales profession, right? And let's imagine that I'm applying for a sales manager job at a company that specializes in creating medical devices that save lives. Okay, here's how I might respond. Okay, in a very clear, concise, and compelling way. You know, just tell me a little bit about yourself. No problem. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been working in the sales profession for well over a decade now, and I'm interested in your opportunity because I know that when I help your sales team sell more of these products, I will be helping to save lives. And that's something that made me really excited as I learned more about this opportunity. And then be quiet. You see how that works? Now you might want to rewind what I just said here, but you see how clear and concise and compelling that was? That's how you do it if the worst case scenario happens. And so what you need to do is you need to go back through this video and you need to replay these examples that I just gave to you, okay? Because they're extremely powerful. And then this way, if you're ever approached with this particular question, you don't have to wing it anymore. You don't have to end up running the chance of saying something that turns them off. You don't have to worry about talking too much, right? If you take this approach, 9 times out of 10, you should end up doing just fine and end up actually creating momentum for yourself in the interview process. Okay? Listen, I hope you got great value from this video. Listen, I want to give you something that's very special. Okay, I've created a virtual training platform called Interview Prep University. Okay, it is a one-of-a-kind online virtual training, and it's 100% free, and it's designed to solve a really big problem. See, the really big problem is that regardless of where you are in your career, okay, it doesn't matter whether you're brand new to the workforce, maybe fresh out of high school or fresh out of college, or whether you're a seasoned veteran with 30 to 40 years up under your belt, the reality is that most people aren't professional interviewers. Okay, so regardless of how much experience you have in the workforce, people don't interview every single day, right? And so what ends up happening is that they go into this process, which is one of the most unforgiving processes that you'll ever be a part of, okay? And a lot of times they just wing it. And what ends up happening is they end up creating the wrong perception of themselves as they're going through the job interview process. You know, one of the things I always tell candidates is that in the ideal world, the person with the best skills will always get the job, typically, okay? But in the real world, it's typically the person who creates the best perception in the job interview process that will get the job. And those two things aren't always the same. Okay. And so what ends up happening is you want to focus on improving your job interview skills so that you can create the best possible perception of you as a candidate. And that's what this course is all about teaching you. Okay. And again, if you're anything like me, for free is for me. Okay. And this is 100% free. So if you'd like to take advantage of it, go to my website, www.interviewprepuniversity.com. Again, that's www.interviewprepuniversity.com, and you can get instant access to this extremely valuable platform. All right. Listen, thanks for checking out the video. Do me a favor, like this video, comment on this video, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel and join the family. Listen, thank you again for checking out this video. I will see you next time. Take care.